Gunline. We got a fire mission coming down for you, y'all. This is going to be what I call a hip shoot. We're going to go ahead and give a props to motherfucking Hunt for that because he's the one that said, hey, man, we got to do a hip shoot on this shit because it's blowing my fucking mind. And lo and behold, he ended up discussing with me a bit of it. And, well, he started pushing me down this rabbit hole. And we'll just get into it here in a second, but I do want to welcome y'all here to the On the Gunline podcast, where we just chop it up and shoot the shit like we do out in the field. With me, as always, is Lee Hunt, who's my homie with the luscious locks, also known as luscious locks Lee, or L cubed. That's what I think I'm gonna call you, L cubed. Think about that. But anywho, what's up, brother?
Speaking of cubes, yes, that has to do with quantum mechanics.
Oh, here we go. Yes. So before he jumps in and starts blowing everybody's fucking mind here, all right. So he had reached out to me a couple of days ago. I guess he started looking into quantum physics and quantum mechanics type shit. All right, now look, y'all. I'm a 13 Bravo. There's a reason I'm a 13 fucking Bravo. I'm not the most knowledgeable motherfucker, but YouTube has broken the mold on how motherfuckers get educated. It really has, because it does break it down Barney style and beyond to make us understand, at least for me, because I know I'm not a fucking smart motherfucker. I'm not stupid, but I am pretty fucking smart, but not that smart, not quantum physics smart. The only thing I know about quantum physics has to do with fucking Ant-Man. So with that being said, he discussed, he started talking about Schrodinger's cat. Before we go there, though, if you don't mind, Hunt, you know what? Let's just stick with Schrodinger's cat. Let's just stick with that. What is Schrodinger's cat for those that don't know?
All right, so pretty much, so it's real detailed, right? But I'm going to put this in like the easiest way that it made sense to me. The Schrodinger's cat paradox is the paradox of everything is happening at once. You know what I'm saying? So what happened was this dude, he was an Australian quantum physicist, right? And he came up with the paradox of what happens if you have this controlled experiment and you put a cat in a box. Now, with this cat in this box, you have a decaying piece of fucking radioactive material, right? And you have a Geiger counter and a hammer and a vial of poisoning, right? And so you cover the cat with all this material in there, right? And after a certain time, then what you would do, you would open the lid on this box and you would get to observe what the experiment was, right? Now, what Schrodinger says is like, what is happening is that if this radioactive material, this piece of material becomes radioactive or decays, if you will, what then happens is the Geiger counter goes off, the hammer smashes the vial releases the poison, the cat inhales the poison, the cat dies, right? Now, if this radioactive material does not become decayed, it doesn't set off the Geiger counter, the cat's alive. But what Schrodinger said is, since we cannot actually see the experiment happening at the same time and we don't know, right, both things are happening simultaneously, and it's only until we actually look in that we see what is going on, right? And so what that is kind of like based upon like I forgot exactly how it's called, right? But what the physicist said it is like, it's when you look at the probabilities, everything is going on until you actually stop and see and get to not test, but actually see what is going on. It's the theory of everything is everything at once, pretty much.
Right. So, because honestly, the first time you were talking to me about it, and I had heard of it, but I just didn't know where I had heard of it up. And it took me a second to recollect, and I remember it was on fucking Futurama, of all things. I've done learn a lot of shit from TV shows, my man. Like, but yeah, dude. So Schrodinger's cat, basically, yeah, same thing I heard. If there's a cat inside a box with radioactive shit in there, you don't know. There's a 50% chance it's dead, 50% chance it's alive, but you don't know what it is until you open the box. So basically, everything is everywhere at once until all the particles are everywhere at once until you open it and visualize it, and then it condenses into one.
Yeah, and then it just like goes from everything at once until exactly what the probability is.
Right.
It stops the movement, and if you will, I wouldn't say the movement, but it's like it stops and it pinpoints the exact what the outcome of the experiment is, if you will.
So, what got you interested in that? Like, what took you down that rabbit hole?
Man, I was just literally looking at shit on YouTube at night because, like, what I do is I normally like will find some Dragon Ball Fighter Z content to look at, or I'll look at this like DCS, digital combat simulator fighter shit, and something about quantum physics was on, and I started looking at it, and then it just piqued my interest in it. It all had to do with the fact that we're 3D beings, but we only can perceive. How does it go? Because I want to make sure I got this right. So we're 3D beings, right? But we can't perceive what is a tesseract. We know what a tesseract is, but we can't. Our minds will not let us comprehend a tesseract. You know what I'm saying? In the fourth dimension, and it just goes into different dimensions too, right? So you have our dimensions that are length, width, and height, right?
Okay.
That makes up the dimensions that we live in right now, the third dimension. And the dimension that we can't see, but we experience is time.
Okay.
Right? So now there are theories that say that we have like 10, possibly 11 dimensions, right? But once you start getting past that like fifth dimension and you start going to 6, 7, 8, 9, and the 10th dimension is kind of like separate. That's kind of where like Ant-Man and the Quantum Mania came in, to where everything is condensed and small. And then you kind of think about like part of that goes with string theory, right? Which are like to the hundreds and thousands of like microscopic level that we can't even see. So how like atoms, we can see atoms, but it's what's inside the inside of the inside of the inside of the atom.
Right.
That makes string theory, pretty much. And there's like supposedly worlds inside of them.
Yeah. So, one of the interesting things that I saw about that, about the whole Schrodinger's cat, is that it also goes into the many world theories, where it said that in this reality or in this dimension that you could open it and the cat's dead, but that means that in a different dimension, though, or a different multiverse, if you will, the cat's alive. So it's like, once you open that box, it splits,
Yeah.
and into different realities, and dude, I mean, and this whole dimension thing, it's a trip, because I do think that there's more than just one dimension, that there is, like, one reality. I do think that I started thinking recently that upon death, our energy that we give out, our essence, or whatever we are, it's death is not what we perceive it as, like, the end. It's more the birth, I guess you could say, of our essence going into a different reality, or a different frequency. Like, I've been like this thinking about this whole frequency shit, like, could it be that when we die, we just become like, you can't see those waves of energy or those waves of frequencies like radio and TV and satellite. What is to say that when we're gone, we don't become that and graduate or elevate to that fucking I don't know what the fuck to call it, man.
There's a new conscious. I would say new conscious, or a new dimension, a new conscious. Like,
Yeah.
well, I think that when we die, we will eventually go back to source.
Yeah.
I honestly believe the more and more that I do my journey into spirituality, and this is no hate, and I'm not like, I just don't believe in anything with certain mainstream religions. Like, everything has been corrupted by man for a reason, and it man, like I said, we can go down this rabbit hole, but what if we are just this huge experiment, and like what we were taught is just a fucking lie? Like, we got spliced. The human race is nothing more than just a giant experiment, right? And the people that did this, they were more advanced and civilized than we were. Now, keep in mind, I'm not saying that these people are gods, because there's only one source, but they came in the form and tricked everybody to believe that they were gods, or that it was the God. Because even if you go back into Genesis, I think it's 1:26, what does the creator say? Let us make man in our image. So how can you say make them in our image if I'm the one?
So, with that, I think you're on something.
They say, Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. You got it.
I was gonna say, and then at the end of it, like I don't know what chapter it is. Like I know that one, but it says now they have became like us,
Hmm.
meaning
So
man had became like us after they had gotten the knowledge of good and evil. Like who is us? So
right.
it's either me because I'm the creator, or us as a whole bunch of deities and a pantheon of deities.
Well, I mean, I guess that would be into like in the Christian theology where us or we, meaning the Trinity, you know. So maybe that, I guess that could be a way of explaining it. But here's I'll add on to I'll piggyback onto what you're saying. Um, we got to think about how long ago these religions came about, you know, and how their perspective of the world was back then. You know, they're seeing all these motherfuckers coming in these machines. They don't know what to call them. You know what I'm saying? They don't know how to
Mm-hmm.
explain what they are. So they're thinking like, oh, they're winged angels and shit like that. Maybe no, these motherfuckers, you know, came into little spaceships and little spacesuits, and that's what they look like. I mean, especially like, you know, with the educational level, I guess, or whatever the the technology of the time was. You know, they're gonna be looking at them and they're gonna be like, that motherfucker could fly. You know what I'm saying? Oh, he's a god. He's definitely got to be a god. You know what I'm saying? That's just what I think. Because I mean, that's where my mind goes to that. So yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, it kind of goes into the motherfucking. I hate to always dumb it down to cartoons, but that's the 13 Bravo way. Look at fucking Rick and Morty when they fucking went into the battery, and then you know, and into
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Who's to say it's just not a fucking simulation per se? And
Yeah.
we're not. I don't think, dude. I really don't think that we're the first civilization in this fucking world. I don't. I can't think that. Like I said, this is just recent shit. You know, who's to say that? You know what trips me out, Hunt? When these motherfuckers say something like, "Oh, you know, we estimate this happened between 3 or 4 million years ago." Okay, well, which one was it? 3 million or 4 million? Because let me tell you something. There's a million in between there. A million is a
Yeah.
long motherfucking time. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
So
999,000.
bro.
Same week, different.
Yeah. So I mean, some of this shit is beyond like my. I can imagine it, but I can't imagine it. Especially when you start talking about like you know subparticles and how small, and it just trips me. It blows my
Well,
fucking mind away. And
that's the thing, though, because even when we talk about that, right? They're talking about these things operate on vibrations, like you were hitting on vibrations in a frequency pattern, right? So there's a theory that says, like, if we could do this, like, if we understood this, right, we literally could pull a flash. And what I mean by that is, if we fully and our brains could comprehend it, and we could make this happen, we could vibrate ourselves to go through a wall because vibrations are just, it's a form of energy, right? So it's just vibrating yourself at a molecular level to penetrate something. Pause.
I started getting used to hearing this pause thing now. So for those
Yeah.
of y'all that don't know what pause means, it's the new no homo. All right, that just so it doesn't sound so homophobic. So pause is the new one. But yeah, dude,
So fuck Pizza Hut, real quick. I hate to detract, but I want to say fuck Pizza Hut because
fuck them.
you have
Why?
to
What
buy
happened?
these little shits now instead of getting the free packets.
Word.
Yeah, and they're like a
So
dollar each.
you balling like that, huh? Going to Pizza Hut? I haven't had Pizza Hut in so long, bro, because their shit is nasty to me.
It really is. But
I'll t-
like, just the personal pan cheese pizza. I was like, fuck it, let me
I'll
get
tell you
this.
what. Pizza Hut is garbage. I'll take Little Caesars over Pizza Hut any fucking day. Any
Papa
day.
John over everybody.
Papa John's all the motherfucking way, Chief. Behind that is Domino's. And then after that, hey, there's a reason for Domino's. Domino's, they don't just do pizza, man. They do some different kind of shit there. But
Yeah, Domino's. Yes.
I think we can all agree on one thing when it comes down to pizza. No pineapples on a motherfucking pizza.
Nah, I fuck with pineapple on pizza. But you
Ah,
know what?
how you
What's
gonna
the
do
name?
Hawaii like that, bro? How you gonna do
No,
Hawaii like that? You're doing
they already going
Hawaii
through
the way
enough
the
shit.
media is doing the indigenous people of Hawaii right now.
They are, but then again, man, listen, I could come up with so much shit about this because I I, I was reading a friend's paper
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't come out and say this, and I talked to him about it, and he was like, "Whoa." I was like, "Your paper made me think," and I was like, "This is my theory and your synopsis of the paper." But I will get with you offline because I don't want to too much go with that. But yeah, man, I think it's a tragedy what's going on in Hawaii. Like it is what it is. That shit sucks, man. Everybody is getting it bad. Everybody had their homes fucked up, their businesses, livelihoods, everything is fucked up. However, semicolon, however, comma, I would be remiss if I didn't say the fact that the indigenous people of Hawaii have been complaining for years of the expansion and colonization of Hawaii. Just like the indigenous people of Puerto Rico are really complaining and talking about the expansion and the colonization of Puerto Rico. Like in Hawaii, for example, all the news outlets, they're only showing one particular
demographic
people that are really outraged. That they're only showing one particular people that have been affected by this. The indigenous people are affected by this, are affected by it as well. Yes, the land, their sacred places that the indigenous people had have been, fucked up as well as during this. But we're only focusing on, and I got it, we're focusing on the businesses, the houses, this, that, and the third, agriculture. But what about all the sacred sites to the indigenous people of that land? Why are we not focused on how fucked up this shit is to them, the cultural significance that these people have just lost?
Do me a favor, Hunt. If you could just explain to some of those folks that aren't aware of what we're talking about.
Okay, so a couple of days ago, huge wildfire in Maui, and it really spread because apparently there was a hurricane and they had hurricane winds, and that shit fucked up everything. Like people were having to leave their cars on the road and hop in the fucking ocean to escape the fire. You know what I'm saying? They were literally in the ocean treading water just to escape the fire. That's how bad it was, man. And so you got to think about it, right? If the fire was even coming that close, like that water from where they were at had to have heat up as well.
Yeah.
But it is a tragic thing that happened. I'm not taking away from anybody from that because it was tragic. There were a lot of people that lost lives. There were a lot of property, burnt down to the ground, and rightfully so. There needs to be attention on it. I would just like to see a lot more indigenous voices because not only do, like I said, that they have their property destroyed as well as everybody else, but the land, the significance of the culture, certain cultural sites, all that only they know about has been, really fucked up and ruined.
Right. And I mean, and like you were saying on your TikTok is where I saw it on King Virgo 82. Make sure y'all go follow it. It's not a race thing, it's more of an inclusivity thing, like you were saying. Let's not just focus on the businesses. We get it, the businesses are what keeps tourism and the economy going in places like Maui, but let's not forget about the people who inhabited that land prior to those businesses, and their sacred lands. So I mean, I'm 100% with you on that. Normally Hunt and I will have some kind of dialogue on this, but no, I'm 100% with him on this one. So we're doing something right.
Yeah, baby. I think that it would, for the people that don't understand, I'll put it like this. How would y'all feel if the Alamo got burned down? Especially those that are native to Texas. How would y'all feel if the Alamo got burned down right now? Y'all would be like, yo, this is sacred to us. This is part of Texas history.
Right.
This is something that, like, we've banned Ozzy Osbourne from ever coming to the fucking Alamo again. You know what I'm saying? That's how important it is. And so people that will try to say, oh, this is a race thing, I want you to think about that, right? I want y'all to think about what would happen if something happened at the World Trade Center, if somebody would desecrate that, if there was a natural disaster that happened at the site of the World Trade Center, how would y'all feel about that? Everybody would say in America, this is sacred ground, this is hollow ground, whatever, we need to take care of this.
Exactly.
What am I thinking? Not Valley Forge, Gettysburg. What happened if a natural disaster would happen at Gettysburg and fuck that shit up?
Right.
This is the same shit that I'm talking about, that we have to be mindful for those indigenous people of Hawaii, because they've had their sacred lands and things that are hollow to them fucked up by this wildfire.
Yep. And I'm hoping that this is a chance that Tulsi Gabbard will take to make her presence known. And
Tulsi who?
My baby girl, Tulsi
Gabbard.
The
Russian plant. Yeah.
According to Hillary Clinton, of all people.
Hillary. You're right, killer.
So, but yeah, dude, did you like that segue though? How I did that segue? Yeah. That was pretty fucking smooth. I'm not gonna lie. Hillary Clinton. So, anyways, dude, I thank you for jumping on with me. I don't know how much time we got left on this. We just wanted to do a quick hip shoot on this. What do y'all think about this fucking realities and how much more, what else is out there? You know what I mean? Now I get it. This is on the gun line. We do a lot of military talking, but again, I don't want to specifically put myself in a corner where all we do is talk PTSD or all we do is talk fucking veteran shit. Because on the gun line, we did more than that. We talked about what shit we're talking about right now. All right. Like this guy right here, y'all don't know, but this guy right here represents my little homie Cruz. All right. That's why I got him right there, because he's a big Vols fan. And let me tell you a quick story about this. So it had just been when Cruz had passed away. He had just died. And I went to the Goodwill. I think it was the weekend after, or something like that. Anyways, I went to Goodwill because my daughter wanted to get some fucking kind of toys or shit like that. And I don't buy brand new toys anymore. All they do is play them for about a week and they go and, collect dust. So, anyways, while we're there, all of a sudden I see this little fucking Santa here with a fucking Tennessee fucking little outfit, right? And I'm like, what the fuck is this doing here in Texas of all things? You know what I mean? And I thought maybe it's University of Texas and shit like that. But nah, it's not the same shit. So I was like, now this motherfucking Cruz sending me a motherfucking message. It's about the same height as him anyway. So I was like, you know what? I'm grabbing this shit. And I grabbed it and took it with me. And from that day forward, this is my boy JC. You know that, and it's funny because it's gonna sound retarded, but I even bring it with me like on trips. Like, because that was one of the big things that that Kowalski and Cruz and I were going to do was, start doing road trips together and shit. So, but anyways, that's the little homie Cruz right there, in case y'all wondering why he's next to a Packers cup and Brett Favre. Yeah. But with that said, fuck the Cowboys. How'd they do yesterday?
But you know what else is crazy that I remember this on the gun line, right? Mm-hmm. When I was an instructor, one of the lieutenants, right?
Yeah.
Was talking about how 4 is a universal number. Now, I understand how people will really think about like Nikola Tesla's 369.
Okay.
All right.
Break that down. 369 by Nikola Tesla. Nicholas Tesla.
Yeah. So, man, listen, I got to go back into that. But it's like a pyramid. You have 3, 6, and 9, and they all kind of like whatever, man. Okay. But like with 4, it's crazy, man, because like now I'm thinking about it. Oh yeah. So with 4, everything comes back to 4. Right? So if you do 0 to 9, everything always comes back to 4. What do you mean by that? So say you pick a number 5.
Mm-hmm.
5 is equal to 4. Spell 5.
F-I-V-E.
Okay. 4. Right? So spell 3.
T-H-R-E-E.
All right. 3 is equal to 5. 5 is equal to 4.
Okay, see now you're doing some witchcraft shit now, Harold. You trying to fuck? I don't know, man. You trying to do that Stretch Armstrong shit where you trying to fucking combine?
Man, like we were like, else. Bro, it was like late as night, and like we were doing like fucking coordinated loom missions, and like this lieutenant just came up with this shit, and we were waiting for the mission to come down. I was like, damn, sir, you really fucking my head up right now. But yeah, man, everything always goes back to fucking the 4. Out of all 0.
You sounded like one of my old drill sergeants, Drill Sergeant Cabrera. This motherfucker said that all numbers relate to 23 or something like. He started doing it started off like he was just trying to entertain us and make some jokes. And he gets this whiteboard out and he starts going with this plus this equals that, and this plus that. And then he's like, and guess what, privates? At the end, it goes down to 23. That's right, 23.
Michael Jordan.
Yes, that's exactly what he said. And what's 23, privates? The greatest player ever, Jordan. Like, what the fuck, dude? All that shit. But it was more like entertainment type deal, man. I still remember that stupidity, but it was funny. I'll tell you, man.
Yeah, man. What I find fascinating is that, but I want to get back to this real quick.
Yeah.
We live in a 3D world.
Mm-hmm.
We can't see 4D, even though we experience 4D. Which is time.
Right.
We can't see time, but we can experience time.
But isn't time something that's a made-up concept, though?
It is made up. This is why, and then this is the thing, though. Once you get into that quantum mechanics and you start going to those other dimensions, like the 5th dimension, right? So in the 5th dimension, what you can see, you can actually see time. You can see the past and the present at the same time. And I think it was when you get to the 10th dimension is when you actually see the past, present, and future all at once.
God damn. See,
yeah, and then that's why they perceive they so some people think it's only 10 dimensions, right? And the highest frequency is just the 10th dimension, and that 10th dimensional supreme being is the creator of everything, because the creator of everything is the only one that actually lives in this 10th dimensional form, this 10th dimensional realm, while everybody else lives under him.
right.
So that's why he's the only one that can perceive past, present, and future.
So,
and why he's the only one, if you look at the Christian Judeo Bible, was allowed, he allowed the author of Revelations to go into the future and see the future. But remember, he told the author, you will not write down any dates.
Right. You know, it's funny. I had this conversation with my mom yesterday because my mom is very, very Christian. And there's just certain things that if I come up with a question to her, she will break out the Bible and we'll talk about it. Because one thing she won't do is let somebody downplay the Bible, because she takes that like super literal. You know what I mean? Me, I try to. We're talking about faith. You know what faith is, and I was explaining to her that a lot of the faiths, we think that they're crazy, but that's the same thing they think about us, because we believe that a man came, died, and resurrected, and he's the son of God, but he's God at the same time. So how crazy does that sound to the average other person that's not Christian? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so she was, we got into a great discussion about that. I wish my mom knew English, because then I swear to God, I would have her on this podcast every day. But
well, this is what's crazy too, man. If you want to think about it like that, there's a paradox in the Christian religion. There may be a fallacy.
Okay.
How can God be all loving and all forgiving if he's punishing people?
Well, he's not punishing. The punisher is actually Satan, right? Lucifer?
No. No. It's not. Satan is not the punisher. He's not. God punishes people, but he gives people free will to make their own choices. Like, how could you, once again, God, the Christian God's love is all encompassing, all knowing, right? All his love is beyond what we can see,
understanding.
Right? Yeah. But right now we understand the love that we have for our kids.
Right.
We know the unwavering love that we have for our kids. If we can experience love like that, where we would literally at a moment's notice be like, hey, listen, I will go to the moon and back. I will leave my family for you, to provide for you, to take care of you, to shelter you, to protect you. I will anything, because it's the love I have for you.
I'll will kill and I will die for you.
Yes. If we can do that as mortals, well, we're not mortals. We're immortal. We're just living in a mortal body.
Right. Ooh, I like that. I like that. Yo, I like that, huh? You can have to coin that shit.
Energy can't be created or destroyed. Energy just is energy. But if we can understand that, how can God be a contradiction? How can you love me? You give me free will. You're all forgiving, but you still can punish me for stuff that I do.
I think.
How can you be all forgiving but still punish?
Because I think
you were the
right. So I think I'm just thinking about what the answer would be. You know, I'm not going against what you're saying. I'm just thinking how someone would answer would be something along the lines, well, he loves you because, and the reason that he's punishing you is because he laid out the groundwork and the rules that he wants you to follow. And then you're being disobedient. So what do you do when your child is disobedient?
But the ground rule is that we have free will.
Right.
The ground rule isn't you will always comply to this. The ground rule is I'm giving you free will. The one thing that I did not give the angels. See, you are in some regards higher than the angels. I want to say higher, but there's something about you that I gave you that I didn't give these angels.
Right.
And that is free will, supposedly. I mean, yes, we know about what happened with the Watchers, the fallen ones, the ones that had that came into the daughters of man and created the Nephilim. We know about that.
Dude, that is one topic we need to get into more, bro.
What?
The Nephilim, the Anunnaki, the fucking.
Well, that's the thing, though, man. Like, I gotta send you this shit. Supposedly, the one that the whole story supposedly from ancient Sumeria, the one that came down and even had the idea of the Garden of Eden, which was just a huge laboratory outside. His name was the Satan. And he was the one that was going around and saying, oh, I did this, that, and the third. And his twin, well, his half brother was the one that told Eve about, hey, listen, this is what's really going on, man. Y'all need to, the tree of knowledge is right here. Y'all need to get into this shit. Hence goes back to, so what have you done? Now y'all became like us.
So I got a question for you about that, man. And I mean, for those of y'all that know about the Bible out there, okay. So who was the one that tempted Eve, according to folklore? It was
the Satan.
Okay, but accuser. In the form of?
Well, it didn't say that he normally came in the form of a snake, but he got put in the form of a snake as somebody that would crawl on their belly. It never said what his original form was like.
See, thank you. Oh, you're breaking up. What'd you say, brother?
I said it never originally said what his form was like in the beginning. It just said that now he will crawl on his stomach, or however it's phrased.
Yeah, that he will crawl on his belly and lick the dirt, where as he crawls or whatever, wherever he goes. Yes, that's the problem that I was having with, because every time there's a depiction of Eve and the apple, there's a serpent, but the punishment for him, tempting Eve was to crawl on his belly. So there's no way he could have been a snake or appeared as a snake.
And it doesn't say what she ate from the tree of knowledge.
Right.
But we always say it's an apple.
An apple, yeah. But that one kind of fucked with me for a while. Like, so I think that's gonna be a question for my mom later on today. I'll let y'all know what she says. She's gonna be whooping my ass, man. Bro, anyways, before I get done, we got about 5 minutes left. I do want to do a little bit of plugging. Hey, check this out. For those of y'all that have gone on to the fucking on gunline.com and to the support store, I appreciate y'all picking up some of these shirts right here. As you see, this is this is gonna be a 155 HE shirt right here. All right, and I'm sweating like a motherfucker because there's no AC inside of this fucking garage, and it's Texas, so it's hell. And also, I got all the 155s and I got all the 105s in there as well. All right, so I got HE, Willie P, Copperheads. I got fucking Illumes. They're all there, man. Y'all go check them out. I think there might be what's that shit called, man? What the fuck was it called? Is it not Adams? No.
Pick 'em.
Nah, man.
Right.
I forget what it's called, bro. DPICM. I think there's a DPICM in there. Yeah. So make sure y'all. I appreciate y'all that are going in there, bro. Y'all helping me out, believe it or not, because to get this little studio area that I'm trying to get is gonna be about almost a little over 3 G's. All right, and I'm a baller on a budget. All right, and that's just to get the fucking the little housing area that I'm doing it in. It's gonna be in my backyard, and that way I won't be sweating like a fucking mule. It's all gonna go into production of this fucking podcast because I want to take it to the next level. I want to, it's a small podcast. It's fucking puny.
Well, here's the first thing where you made a mistake. You said you want to. So what happened is, since we're going to talk about the quantum realm,
yes,
you just made an uncertainty.
Okay.
Right. So not I want to. I am going to take this, because remember, everything is vibrations. So nice. You just put out this vibration of you're not certain. And we have to be certain when we do things. So instead of I want to, the vibration that you have to put out is I'm going to take the On the Gunline podcast to a new direction.
Thank you, Hunt. And see, that's why Hunt's the co-host with the most. This motherfucker is kicking that knowledge, kicking down facts. We're going to take this motherfucking podcast to the next level together. All right? We're going to do this
Everything's vibrating. But when I tell you, I'm literally laying down at night thinking about this shit. Like, that's where my mind goes, because I listen to sleep hypnosis. Yeah. And it's these comments and just the stuff, and I'm repeating certain mantras even to myself and putting these things out there and putting this positive vibration out there, and knowing that when I do it, it's gonna come. Listen, I'm 100% positive. I manifested my first Charger, the first Dodge Charger I had. I know I manifested that motherfucker Charger. Like, I would have my O keys in my hand, And I would at night I'd be like, this is the keys to my new charger. And I would specifically say it was my black charger. And I'll be damned if like months later, maybe like 6 months later, I bought that black charger, man.
Goddamn right. And with that said, 3 minutes left. I do want to say another thing. Make sure y'all go visit Red Leg Custom Woodwork. If you'd like a beautiful round like this one, 105 HE round, he does do custom graphics on there, and everything is to spec. There's also another guy I want y'all to check out. His name is just Red Leg Woodworks. And this guy, he does, well, I have to plug him next time because we're running out of time over here. But make sure y'all go hit up redlegcustomwoodworks.com, and the prices are fucking super fair, super cheap, and it's a red leg and it's a veteran. Make sure y'all if you haven't done so, go check out the Pact. Make sure y'all go fucking sign up for that shit no later than tomorrow, 11/59/59/59. All right, that's
if
23.
You are, here's the caveat to that. Here's the caveat to that. If you're 100%, don't do it.
Right.
You are already rated 100%. But if you're not rated at 100%, you need to go ahead and sign up for the Pact Act ASAP, so that way you can get the year of back pay.
Mm-hmm. Not only that, I mean,
but if you're 100%,
I sent on Facebook on the Gunline Facebook page, I put a link to a Combat Craig who breaks that shit down as far as like, because thank God, Hunt came over here and let us know so we could put this info out there. Y'all need to do this shit, veterans. This is shit you earned. The Army, the government took everything they could out of you, and it's only fair that you get back in compensation what you can't regain. All right? Whether it was time with your family, whether it's your fucking back, whether it's your mental, anything physical, this is your comp. All right? So it's not like you're begging for this shit. This is shit that you earned. All right? So with that being said, Hunt, thank you as always for being on here with me. It was a quick shoot the shit episode. Normally this would be like a midweek memo, but I don't break it down like that anymore. Unless it's a new motherfucker that comes on. Papano, if you're hearing this, I'm waiting for you to reach back to me, bro, so we can get you on here. And anybody else that wants to come onto the gun line and shoot the shit here with Hunt and myself, you're more than welcome. Hit me up in the comments, in the fucking messages or DMs, and over at onthegunline@gmail.com. I'd love to have you on here. Me and Hunt will just fucking have a shoot the shit moment with y'all. Hunt, any plugs before we go?
No, man. Everybody be safe and always try to put out positive things in the atmosphere. I know we live in a negative world, and I'm part of that too. But at night, the best thing that you can do is just try to put out positive things, especially if you want to receive these positive things. Put them out there and know that you're going to receive them. Just be patient. Put them out there, and it will come to you.
And Hunt's loving that meat in his mouth again. Rounds complete. In the mission. Gun line out. Bye, motherfuckers.